What if I told you there's a way to strip emotions of their power, not by suppressing them, not by ignoring them, but by outsmarting them? Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, watching the chaos rage around you, and feeling nothing. Not numbness, not detachment, just pure, undisturbed clarity. No fear, no anger, no hesitation. Just you and the cold, calculated precision of your next move. This isn't about becoming a robot. This isn't about not caring. It's about something far more dangerous, far more powerful. It's about making emotions irrelevant. And the key to doing that doesn't come from modern psychology or self-help cliches. It comes from a man who lived 500 years ago, a man whose name has become synonymous with ruthless strategy, Niccolo Machiavelli. Now, before you dismiss this as some edgy, manipulative mind game, hear me out, because this isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling the one thing that's been controlling you this whole time, your own emotions. And the scary part? It's easier than you think. So how do you do it? How do you cut through the noise of fear, doubt, and impulsivity and act with the chilling precision of a grandmaster playing chess? The answer lies in a single, brutal shift in perspective. But to understand it, we need to go deeper. We need to talk about why emotions control us in the first place, and the psychological loophole that lets you step outside of them. Let's start with a hard truth. You don't control your emotions. They control you. Every decision you've ever made, every burst of anger, every moment of hesitation, every time you've stayed silent when you should have spoken up, was dictated by an invisible force. And the worst part? You probably told yourself you were in charge the whole time. Think about the last time you were overwhelmed with anger or crippled by anxiety. In that moment, did it feel like a choice? Or did it feel like something was happening to you? That's the illusion. We like to believe we're rational creatures, but the reality is emotions come first. Logic comes second. And by the time your brain catches up, the damage is already done. Ever sent a text you regretted? Ever snapped at someone and immediately wished you could take it back? That's your emotions hijacking your actions. And society tells you to manage them, to take deep breaths, to count to 10, to let it go. But here's the problem. Management isn't power, it's containment. And containment is just another form of slavery. Machiavelli didn't believe in managing emotions. He believed in making them irrelevant, not by fighting them, not by denying them, but by seeing them for what they really are: noise, static, a distraction from the only thing that matters: results. So how do you do that? How do you go from being puppeteered by your feelings to moving through the world with icy, unstoppable precision? It starts with one mental shift, a shift so simple it's almost offensive. But before we get to the how, we need to talk about the why. Why do emotions have so much power over us in the first place? And more importantly, why do we let them? Here's something unsettling. Your emotions aren't yours. They're not some deep, sacred part of your identity. They're survival mechanisms, hardwired reactions that evolved to keep a weaker, more vulnerable version of you alive. Fear, designed to make you run from predators. Anger, meant to intimidate rivals. Guilt, a social leash to keep you in line. But here's the catch. You don't live in the wild anymore. The predators in your life aren't lions. They're deadlines. They're toxic people. They're your own spiraling thoughts. And yet, your brain still reacts like you're fighting for survival in the jungle. That's why emotions feel so overpowering. They're ancient, overclocked alarms blaring in a world that doesn't need them. Imagine you're about to give a presentation. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your throat tightens. That's not nerves. That's your body screaming, "Danger!" like you're about to be mauled by a bear. But here's the truth. No one has ever died from public speaking. The fear is a misfire, a glitch, and the more you obey it, the more power you give it. Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago. He didn't see fear as something to overcome. He saw it as irrelevant, because in his world, the world of power, strategy, and ruthless decision-making, emotions were just obstacles. Not enemies, not teachers, just speed bumps on the road to getting what you want. So ask yourself, How many of your choices are really yours? How many times have you held back, lashed out, or self-sabotaged? Not because it was smart, but because some outdated wiring in your brain told you to. That's the prison. And the way out isn't therapy. It isn't self-love. It's something far colder, far simpler. Which brings us to the mind hack. The shift that flips the script. It's not about fighting emotions. It's about seeing them for what they are and then choosing deliberately to act anyway. So here it is, the shift. The moment your relationship with emotions changes forever. And it all comes down to this: you don't ignore them. You don't fight them. You outrank them. Think of your mind like a kingdom. Right now, your emotions are the tyrant on the throne, issuing commands, dictating your actions, ruling through chaos. But what if you became something higher, something beyond the king, the architect of the kingdom, the one who designs the throne itself? Emotions are like the weather. You don't argue with a thunderstorm. You don't try to manage a hurricane. You check the forecast, adjust your plans, and move forward. That's the hack. You stop treating emotions like orders to obey and start treating them like data to consider. Here's how it works in practice. 1. Recognize the signal. When an emotion hits, fear, anger, or envy, pause. Ask, what is this trying to tell me? Not dictate, not demand, just inform. 2. Assess the value. Is this emotion useful right now? Fear before jumping off a cliff? Helpful. Fear before sending an important email? Useless noise. 3. Decide to act anyway. This is where the power is. The moment you say, I see you, emotion, but I have more important things to do. Imagine you're about to negotiate a salary. Anxiety screams, don't rock the boat. What if they say no? The older you would shrink. The new you? You'd notice the anxiety, acknowledge it, then calmly ask for $20,000 more anyway, because the anxiety isn't the boss anymore. You are. Now, some of you are thinking, but emotions are human. This sounds cold. And you're right if the goal were to become a robot. But that's not the goal. The goal is freedom. The freedom to choose when emotions matter and when they don't. The freedom to feel fear and still take the shot. To feel anger and still stay quiet. That's not suppression. That's sovereignty. But this isn't just about personal power. This is about something far bigger. Because once you master this, you start to notice something unsettling. How many people around you are still prisoners of their emotions? And that realization changes everything. Once you start operating this way, you begin to see the world differently. You notice how many people are trapped in emotional cages they don't even realize exist. The coworker who stays silent in meetings because they're afraid of sounding stupid. The friend who tolerates toxic relationships because guilt whispers, you owe them. The version of you that used to freeze, lash out, or self-sabotage, not because it was smart, but because an ancient survival program misfired. This isn't just about you anymore. It's about the uncomfortable truth that most of society runs on emotional autopilot. People vote, spend, marry, and quit based on feelings they never question. And the few who learn to override that, they shape the world. Think about history's most formidable figures, not just Machiavelli, but leaders like Churchill, strategists like Sun Tzu, innovators like Steve Jobs. Were they emotional? Of course. But here's the difference. Their emotions didn't decide. They did. Fear didn't stop them. Anger didn't control them. They saw emotions as weather, something to account for, not obey. Now imagine your life with that same clarity. No more procrastination disguised as, I'm not in the mood. No more lost opportunities because it didn't feel right. Just pure, unfiltered agency. That's the real hack, not deleting emotions, but deleting their veto power over your life. But here's the paradox. The less power you give your emotions, the more you actually feel them. When anxiety isn't the boss, you can finally hear what it's trying to say. When anger isn't calling the shots, you can use its energy without burning your life down. This isn't suppression, it's the opposite. It's emotional adulthood. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 24 hours, treat every emotion like a coworker, not a CEO. Let it advise but not decide. Notice when fear whispers to retreat and lean forward anyway. When frustration says scream, stay silent and watch what happens. The goal isn't perfection, it's practice. And the more you practice, the quieter the noise becomes, until all that's left is you. The real you, the one who acts. Machiavelli wasn't right about everything, but he was right about this. Power belongs to those who see reality clearly, and the first reality to see clearly is your own mind. The storm will keep raging, but from now on, you'll be the one holding the umbrella. So tell me in the comments, what's the first thing you'll do now that your emotions don't get to decide for you anymore?